So as we all know, the current hype for weapons in Once Human is mostly around the legendary Last Valor Scar, right? Because, well, it deals a lot of damage and you have quite some mod flexibility for it. However, I'd like to challenge that gun by showing an even better one, which is the MG4 Predator. And with that, let's dive into my guide on how to properly build that gun. So, with everything said, let's get right into the guide. So let's start off with the gun features. And so in the first feature, it says 40% chance to trigger Fast Gunner on hit. And what that means is, well, Fast Gunner is the gun's special effect, and Fast Gunner is a continuous buff. And as it says, while skill is an effect, so every time you trigger Fast Gunner, each stacks will grant you fire rate plus 1% and attack plus 1% for 2 seconds, and the effect can by default stack up to 5 times. Now the thing here that's not mentioned, but that should be mentioned, is the fact that your Fast Gunner duration, so this 2 seconds here, is actually reset every time you trigger Fast Gunners. And so the cool thing is that even when you've reached max stacks, so for instance, say you've reached here by default 5 stacks, you can actually still re-trigger Fast Gunner, although you won't go any higher than 5 stacks. It'll actually still just refresh the duration of the buff. So that's actually pretty neat. So quality of life. Now, to the second feature, it says whenever Fast Gunner stacks reach a multiple of 5, gain infinite ammo for 0.5 seconds. So this is actually complementing the last feature right here, which says that when the remaining bullets is more than 50% of the magazine capacity, attack plus 40%. And so your goal is to pretty much have this don't reach your max Fast Gunner stacks before you reach pretty much half your magazine capacity. And in short, pretty much what that means is, I'm going to dive into this much later, but in your mods, try to avoid Fast Gunner trigger chance. You want to, because 40% is actually pretty huge, and most of the time, if you have even more chances to trigger Fast Gunner, you're not even going to take full advantage of the last feature, right? And so to, this one, the third feature, is as hitting the same target consecutively grants weapon damage plus 2% per hit, up to 40%. Effect resets when switching targets. What this buff means is that it's encouraging you to hit the same target. So say, for instance, you're clearing Leia. It's encouraging you to keep hitting on the Elite, or say Mother of Life. I believe that's what she's called, or Eve, instead of hitting the aids, right? But yeah, this is the essence of this buff. A pretty cool buff that you're going to be able to stack in like less than 2 seconds. And now for your calibration attributes, I'm currently running this because I was I was testing the gun and stuff. But crit rate is not what you want to go. You can still build crit rate for this gun, right? But it's going to deal less damage than the build that we're going for, which is weak spot, right? So you still want to keep rapid shot style. However, instead of keeping, say, crit rate, you'd actually want double weak spot damage bonus here. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it for calibration attributes. Now let's take a quick look at the attachments that you can run on this gun, or I should say accessories, right? So for the muzzle, it's really simple. You pretty much, if I only take a look at the legendary ones, it's a trade-off between stability for more accuracy and range, or if you're struggling to manage the recoil of this gun, you can always pick the hammer compensator, right? However, you will lose some of the range and accuracy for that stability. Moving on to optics, as usual, in my last video on the UP Vector. And by the way, be sure to check that out. It's a pretty good guide on how to build the little jaws. But for now, I am rocking the tactical holographic sight. Just because it looks good and it has quite a lot of bonuses to it. Otherwise, you can always run the sealed reflex sight if you're caring more about the 3 points of stability that it gives you more over the tactical holographic sight. You can also use the compact reflex sight if you've bought it from the Morphic shop. However, I won't be buying it, right? And if we move on to tactics, tactical laser sight is gonna be the best one, right? Unless if like you still want even more stability, then you can go for compact infrared indicator, or infrared indicator, anything that gives you more, like tactile flashlight, anything that gives you more stability at the cost of accuracy, right? It's really your choice. Use whatever you're gonna feel comfortable with, because of course if you go full accuracy and no stability and you can't hit a single shot on the weak spots, it doesn't matter, right? Like you're not gonna be dealing as much damage as you could be, right? And for the magazine, it's an LMG. You want to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting to keep that consistent damage going. So you're going to be rocking the large LMG drum mag. So that's going to wrap it up for your accessories. And now moving to your gear sets and key gears, right? So for your let's start with key gear. Key gear, it's going to be Osis mask. Because it adds 10 more stacks to your fast gunner, which makes the LMG perform way better. And then it also makes it so that you also gain plus 1% attack per stack of fast gunner, which is pretty much what you want for this. Now your other option would be, if I go into the blueprint machine, weapon blueprints and your key gear, your other option is the dusk mask. However, it's absolutely useless for your MG4 because this is more. I really don't want to delve into details, but in short, this is more made for the revolver. If I can show it to you, is it this? Yeah, it's more made for the Memento Frag revolver, R500, right? So yeah, you really just go for the Osis mask. It's gonna perform better in every single way. And now for the gear sets bonus, I'd recommend going 4-piece Renegade Hood. Now currently I'm running a 3-piece bonus because I just didn't unlock the 4th one. But let's just say if you get the 4-piece bonus, right? You get the 4-piece Renegade Hood. What that means is you're going to get 15% reload speed, 10% weak spot damage, which is important. And the third one is also really important because it allows you to deal, if we just read the description, right? Hitting the same enemy consecutively grants 1 stack of Archer's Focus, increasing weak spot damage by 4% up to 10 stacks. Archer Focus stacks are halved when the target is changed. So this, once again, is encouraging you to keep hitting the same target. However, this buff is massive. So 40% weak spot damage is crazy here. And then 4-piece, when reloading, for every 1% of weak spot hit from the previous magazine, you're gonna load an extra 0.6% bullets up to 30%, which means if you actually just keep hitting your weak spots to the threshold that it needs, say for instance my LMG currently holds up to 125 bullets. We just do here in the calculator. 125 times. So we actually just do here in the calculator. We're gonna do 125 times 1.3. It's going to give us 162 bullets. So you're going to gain pretty much 40 bullets just from the 4th piece bonus. And that's going to allow you to just keep that consistent damage coming. Alright. However, if you're running 3-piece, you'd want to consider a 2-piece. They both give you a bonus, right? So here, I get weapon damage 10% when my HP is above 70%, and I chose Lone Wolf for the 10% magazine capacity, right? So that's gonna help. You can also consider Agent Frag if you don't got these two, right? Because I believe it's Agent. If I can just you know what? Let's find it into blueprints. So blueprints. So we go into shoes. The Agent shoes. So here they are. So if you get the 2-piece, you can still get the weak spot damage bonus, 10%, which is what you want, right? And now for the other ones, there's really not much to consider. All right. So now that we've talked about your gear sets and your key gear, whatever, let's go into your mods. And to start with that, we're going to talk about your mods priority. Your mods substats priority, sorry. So if you take a look at these substats right here, your most important substats to focus on is going to be weak spot damage, right? Following that, you can aim for any damage against X type of enemies. That's going to help you. Also, weapon damage is going to help you, right? And magazine capacity will definitely also help you for your consistent damage output. So these are pretty much what you're going to want to be looking for. Do absolutely not go for status / elemental or crit. because we're going full weak spot here, and just like most of the games, if that you've probably played, most of the time, crit damage is awful if you don't invest enough of it, and usually crit is pretty expensive to build, and this game is no exception. You don't have many crit rate sources other than like, say the crossbow or some key gear pieces such as the gas mask hood gives you 35% crit rate. So, and usually these key gear are just tailored for like one weapon. So yeah, so for this one, we'll just, in short, we're going for weak spot, right? So these are pretty much the mods you're going to be the mod substats you're going to be focusing on. And now let's take a look at the mods you're going to want to run. So let's start with the gun. Gun is going to be Precision Rush. So as the description says, when Fast Gunner is active, oh my god, I hate this. Increase weak spot damage while continuously shooting for 3 seconds, up to 45%. And you know, just this is the weak spot damage that the weak spot damage bonus that you're gonna need. And then if you want to know about the other choices, if I can just take a look at my Fast Gunners one, right? You can see you have weapon damage, which is like cope for your weak spot build. You can also, it's kind of the same thing as shootout. So shooting blitz, kind of the same thing as shootout. However, the difference is shootout can scale at a higher percentage. However, you need to like stack it, right? Whereas shooting blitz is just instant weapon damage plus 15%. And then we've got cowboy, which is fast gunner trigger chance. You absolutely do not want that, right? As I've said before, for the weapon features. So really, you're just consider precision rush. This is your best mod to run on this one, on this gun. Next up, let's take a look at the helmet. Helmet, it's going to be precise strike. So hitting weak spot grants weak spot damage plus 12% for 3 seconds and affecting stack 3 times. This is with the LMG and its fast fire rate, you know, because since fast gunner gives fire rate, and also you're running rapid shot, you're gonna get this buff ramped up to 36% instantly. Right, so this is your first place for mod that you should be hunting for. You can also still consider momentum up. You know, the moment. Don't consider anything. Actually, from now on, anything crit mod, do not even look at it, since we're going weak spot build, right? You can also consider mag expansion, but they don't really compare themselves to precise strike. And really, if you go max expansion, it's more like you're trading off more damage for like consistent damage, but like lower damage than precise strike, right? So it's really just hang out with the max, like use the max expansion and the momentum up until you get a good precise strike. Moving on to the next one for your mask. So for the mask, once again, it's really easy. When in fast gunner state, weak spot damage plus 30%. You're gonna get fast gunner in like one of like your first 5 bullets, not even, maybe like in your first bullet, you're gonna trigger fast gunner state and instantly weak spot damage was 30%. Like the stack, the buff, the percentage buff on these mods is actually insane. So yeah, so go for gunslinger. Your other option on your mask would be blitzkrieg, and this is like not real. I wouldn't recommend this. This is not tailored for the weak spot build. So really just go for when in fast gunner state, weak spot damage plus 30%, right? And now next up, let's take a look at the gloves. So gloves, once again, it's so brain dead. You literally just take the weak spot one. Weak spot damage was 25%. So for the gloves, do not take elemental overload nor status enhancement. These one, your gun actually doesn't have any status damage or elemental damage, whatever. They're the same thing anyway. So don't take this. Munitions amplifier would be a cope option. And yeah, as usual, don't even consider the crit. All right, so just go for weak spot damage boost. And then for your shoes, you actually kind of have 2 options here. So the first one is covered advance, right? It's the buff that it's the mod that you're gonna pretty much be running on all of your shoes for all of your builds, or I'm not sure for all of them, but pretty much out of every weapons I've tested. So for instance, the corrosion shotgun, the unstable bomber vector, the the shrapnel scar, the shocked SMG, blah, etc. I'm always running covered advance, right? With the difference in the substats. But here, it's actually a bit unfortunate for me. I'm forced to use the violent suffix mod, so I'm forced to keep the 15% crit damage. But if I had a precision one, I'd definitely pick the precision one, right? Now, of course, this one, I do get a lot of buffs, right? So I get normal enemies damage bonus, and I do get elite damage bonus. I still get a weapon damage bonus. So it's actually kind of like cope good, you know what I'm saying? And then your second option is Ruthless Reaper. So after 2 kills, refill 100% of your magazine from your reserve. And what this mod can allow you to do is, as long as you get the 2 kills requirement, right, is if you don't fall below the 50% ammo capacity. So as you can see for the last weapon feature, when the remaining bullets is more than 50% of the magazine capacity, attack plus 40%. This mod can allow you to keep the attack 40% uptime like pretty much 100%. Whereas covered advance, it's not like gonna keep it like you're gonna fall below half your ammo, and then you're gonna have to reload, right? So really, these are your 2 choices. I'd say pick whichever you're more comfortable with, or just you prefer. And it's also kind of gonna depend on the content that you clear, right? So if you're constantly taking damage, you literally don't have a single break, maybe consider Ruthless Reaper. Yeah, so that's about it for shoes. Now for the top, your priority would be weak spot damage bonus, right? Weak spot damage boost. Now it's a bit unfortunate I have violent on it, but your other option would be munitions amplifier. And here I believe I do have, oh no I don't, but here here from me, for instance, I'd take munitions amplifier for the simple fact that weapon damage bonus, like with everything, without the damage bonus here, like a weapon damage bonus, 3.6% damage bonus, and then the negative 6% bonus, this thing is going to scale harder than the weak spot damage bonus, right? Because this is a flat out 15% bonus, and then here I get 12.6% of weak spot damage bonus and 6% of the normal enemy bonus, right? And this is going to, this for instance, if I just do some quick maths on my real life calculator, it's going to end up at 1.19. So it's 19% of damage bonus for my gun instead of 15. So this one actually performs better. So don't get baited by the fact that you got a weak spot damage bonus. Still, as usual, look at your substats. Your substats, I cannot stress this enough. Oftentimes, substats are going to dominate your mods over their main effect. However, although here, which is why sometimes you should actually test the mods for yourself. But yeah, so just this is really, but for the top it's really easy to see it, right? Just you've got only 3 lines of buffs. Just do the math yourself. You'll know which one deals more damage, right? So next up, Renegade Pants. Well, not Renegade Pants, Pants. You're gonna be running Bullet Siphon, and really this is your only viable option. You don't want to consider crit. You don't even want to consider momentum. Now, maybe I actually take back slightly what I said. You could consider unstoppable precision, but this is really specific, right? So it says weak spot damage plus 20% when a bullet hits a target more than 20 meters away. For every additional 1 meter away from the target, weak spot damage plus 1% up to 20%. I can see it kind of work in the Forsaken Monolith against the Giant, since you'll be pretty far away. And his weak spots are massive, right? So if you miss that, it's you gotta learn better recoil control or something. Like you're gonna start ADSing or whatever, because his weak spots are really easy to hit, right? So I could see this work, but this is too situational. And once you get far enough, say 40 meters. Now I'm not sure how far of distance, if this is 1 meter, one meter, right? But say for instance from this to the dummy that I have, it's 20 meters. the weak spot is gonna be pretty hard to hit. Like you're gonna have to control the recoil, and for the attachment, for like you're gonna have to compensate it with your attachments, and even then it might be pretty hard, right? So just general rule for your pants: go with bullet siphon. The basic 5% weapon damage and the 25% stacked up maxed out weapon damage bonus is gonna be pretty much your only options here. The rest is just trash. This one gives elemental damage bonus. Reload Rampage gives 10%, which is like nowhere near as what Bullet Siphon can give you. And then 3 strikes is just you get a buff on 3. Like this is made for snipers, right? So go for a Bullet Siphon for your pants mod, and this pretty much wraps up all of the mods for your weapons. Now I do want to talk about the your secondary weapon. So currently I'm equipped with the crossbow, right, which gives 30% crit rate, which for this weak spot build you don't give a you don't care about it, about the crit rate. It's since you won't even be stacking crit damage. I have 15 am I okay? No, I don't have the gun equipped. I have 45%. I don't even know where this comes from, but I have 45% crit damage. That is so low compared to, well, after I stack all the weak spot damage bonus, that is so low that even when you crit, you're gonna notice like literally almost no damage difference. So crossbow, the really only benefit that you're getting from crossbow will be the bullseye effect. If you add the vulnerability amplifier, you're gonna get like 16%, I believe. So if I just take a quick look, bullseye gives 8%. Yes, bullseye gives 8% vulnerability, and then the mod adds another 8%. You're getting 16% from the crossbow. Now, like it can be used like as a Walmart version of the better weapon, which would be the Oz 338 Bingo. So if we take a look, oh my god, the description is following me. If you take a look, you got 70% chance to trigger the bullseye on a weak spot hit. 70% is pretty high, so you'll probably trigger you'll trigger it most of the time, right? And in any case, if you just do a quick weapon swap, right? So if I just do like empty weapons to my secondary or whatever, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the effect where the sniper will trigger the bullseye, guaranteed, right? And there's another feature which says it grants weak spot damage plus 15% on hit for 10 seconds, and the effect can stack up to 3 times, right? This is actually huge. So you can pretty much stack another 45% weak spot damage bonus on this. And if you get a kill from the forced, I'm sorry, I just got off here. But if you get a kill from the 4th bonus, it can even get better for your, since it's gonna make your attack higher, right? But if you have a rapid shot for your sniper, it's gonna be like boom. Now I don't have it, so it's kind of awkward to show. But it's gonna be like boom, 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 and you'll have this buff stacked up, right? And then you can directly swap out to your MG4 and then just start melting whatever you're trying to kill. So this is it for the second weapon that you'll be running. Now, let's move on to food buffs. Really, the only option that I'm only going to take a look at the buff that's going to give you like damage, right? So the only option that you have would be the assorted canned fruits. But as you can see, used to increase weak spot damage by 25% when sanity is above 80%. And most of the time, your sanity is going to be above 80%. So this is actually a huge buff. Now, there is nothing else that's going to buff your damage. Because all of the rest of the like food buffs, if you eat the assorted canned fruits and then you eat something else, it deletes the assorted canned fruits buff. So don't take anything else. And for the drinks, there's nothing else as well. The only drink buff, if I remember, actually, you have this, but this is not for Fast Gunner, nor is Whimsical Drink. Whimsical Drink is for status damage, so you really don't have drink buffs for this gun, which is fair considering the damage output that it's capable of, right? So yeah, that's it for the food buffs. Now let's go into mimetics. So cradles, right? So if you go into cradle, you are pretty much it's mandatory to run automatic weapon enhancement. Now I'm running handgun enhancement, but ideally, if you're running the sniper or the crossbow, right, you'd run this for like slightly more damage. And then for the second row, you'd use this against bosses. So it says after using a tactile item, damage against the great ones plus 25% for 15 seconds. So literally just throw a dagger on the boss or whatever, and then you get the 25% bonus damage, right? Deviation Master is mandatory for PvE content. I took agility just to take less damage, but you're really not forced to do that. Actually, I should stop it for tactical combo, because weapon damage plus 25% for 4 seconds after you reload or you switch your weapons, right? So this is gonna make it huge. You're gonna have a 4 seconds weapon damage buff, which is nice since like the gun shoots so fast. You're able to capitalize on the buff a lot. Am I running? Okay, I'm probably running like a wrong Cradle here, but because like in my preset, I'm probably running a wrong Cradle preset, which is why I'm saying like this thing, because this thing has no business being there, right? And this gives status damage bonus. You don't care about that. So realistically, the last two that are worthy of taking a look at if you want to increase your damage would be Steady Hand and Bounty Hunter. Now Steady Hand, what it does is when you're in fast gunner status, weak spot damage plus 40%. Now, like you can also consider Fortress Warfare, but since you're already using a gun that gets fast gunner status, so we'll just take a look at that. You get 40% weak spot damage, as if you did not have enough from all of your mods. So they just had to add that even more. And if you can see, weak spot damage to the bullseye plus 20%. Like, as if your mods already didn't give you enough weak spot damage, they're giving you 60% more from this one, just from this one Cradle, which is crazy, right? And then the next one, holy Jesus! So after you defeat a unit you marked, right? So literally just proc the bullseye on a random target, kill it. You get 25% damage bonus, and then weak spot damage bonus 35%. Like, I don't know what the devs were thinking, right? But this is what it is. These are the last two Cradle that you're gonna have equipped for the most amount of damage. And so this wraps it for the guide on the MG4 Predator. If you've enjoyed this video, learned something new, or if you'd like to see more Once Human content from me, like and subscribe, and take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.